Hello and welcome to the Climate Restoration Community Mobilization. This is not a regular update. This is us mobilizing the community. We've been working on this for many years, and this is the moment. So before we begin, I want to introduce myself. My name is Ilan Mandel. I will be your Climate Restoration Central Coordinator, coordinating all the different teams and activities and information and so on. AM, can you do your thing where you tell everybody to raise their right hand?
Sure. Those of you who, one request I want to make is those of you who could turn on your video, please turn on your video. That'd be awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody raise up your right hand if you wouldn't mind. Let's see if show of hands. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, then bring it back and pat yourself on the back because you are creating history and the future right now. The attitude alters the future. Congratulations on being the very front behind the scenes meeting because officially we'll be opening in January. But congratulations each and every one of you for being here.
Thank you very much, AM. So today we are completing 8 years of R&D, of climate restoration research and development, and launching a 25-year project to restore the climate. So congratulations. We're all volunteers, founders, donors, angels, champions. We're all people that want to restore the climate. And so first, let's talk about the why, right? And you can see here in the in the slide that little kid holding the sign, "My future is in your hands." So let's start by remembering why we're doing this. We're doing this for future generations, and we have a short video to play for you.
We are the future generations. We do not vote, so governments don't prioritize us. We do not pay taxes, so we are not in the budget. We do not buy products, so corporations ignore us. But you, our parents, our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, you have the power now. You are writing the story we will be born into. Will it be a world of chaos and collapse, or one of restoration, beauty, and life? We ask you to be bold, to stand up for us when no one else will, to make the choices today that will give us a tomorrow. Join the Climate Restoration Alliance. Sign the Climate Restoration Resolution. Fund the projects that restore the climate. Speak for us until we can speak for ourselves.
Very good. Thank you very much, Judy. We are writing the story they will be born into. I want to acknowledge some of the people that are here. We have with us Kevin Shanley, a climate restoration angel, the initiator of the OIF Challenge Grant. We're going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and the amazing work that you've done. We should have Mr. Konlambik from Togo. Is he with us? And Dr. Folega, I think I've seen him from Togo as well. We have a few people from Kenya, Herman and Lisa from Silicon Valley. Terry should be with us. Terry is the third co-founder of the Foundation for Climate Restoration back in 2017. Scott Poynton from the Pond Foundation. And Scott is very passionate about peacemaking. We all know that there is a distinct link between climate restoration and peace, and we can talk about that as well. And of course, the founder of our movement, Peter Fiakovsky, is, like I said, right now in a book writing retreat in Costa Rica, completing his second book. We're all waiting. So we have two, at least one, maybe two special guests today. Hunter Lovins, just an incredible person with all of her work, and she's here with us. Peter, would you introduce Hunter?
Yes. So I've known Hunter for many years. She was a co-founder of the Rocky Mountain Institute and is a very popular and important advocate for regenerative agriculture and ecosystem regeneration. It's been a powerful advocate for climate restoration for a long time, and it's an honor for me to have her as a friend and a supporter. So, Hunter, do you want to? Actually, let me, Alon, let you introduce what you'd like her to discuss.
First of all, Hunter, if you can introduce yourself for the people that don't know you, and then I'd like to hear why you're here. What is your takeaway from all those decades that you've been working on the climate, and what you think is going to work?
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Lon. On this hat, I wear the pin from COP3, that was Kyoto, and the pin for Belém, that's COP30. That means for 30 years, the nations of the world have negotiated. The climate doesn't negotiate, nature doesn't negotiate. We are the only ones who are coming to save us. And so when Peter and I first met and started talking about this, I agreed to do whatever I can to help him. It runs me. I am the chief steward of a little group called COPX, Conferences of People Independently Organized. This is the idea of a very senior UN official who said the nations of the world will never solve the climate crisis. Yes, to the extent that we can get good policy, it helps. It isn't enough. It'll never be enough. All of us on this call today are what it will take, each in our own way, each in our own community, but coming together in meetings like this to share what we're doing, to make clear that the actions we're taking, whether it be the trees that were just mentioned being planted, or regenerative grazing. This is the way the earth decarbonized 30 million years ago, grazing animals across the great grasslands of the world. We have all the solutions. Bill McKibben's new book, Here Comes the Sun, outlines the extent to which renewable energy is now everywhere on Earth, cheaper than fossil energy. We know how to stop burning fossil energy. The work that Peter is doing with demonstrating the capacity of the oceans with iron to take down massive amounts of carbon. The work that people on the coast of the west coast of America are doing with native communities and clam gardens. Every time a clam builds a shell, that's calcium carbonate. There are so many answers. One of my current favorites is whale poop. And some of the members of Peter's organization are showing how whales eating krill, which have calciferous shells, and then excreting that, which falls to the bottom of the ocean, are pulling carbon out of the ocean, out of the atmosphere, and putting it back where it belongs. We can solve this crisis. We know how to. Will we? That's up to you.
Thank you very much, Hunter. Perfect. Thank you for joining us, and I'm confident we're going to succeed. There is no other way. Carl Page is supposed to join us from his car. If you're on, Carl, I would love for you to say a few words. Carl Page is our biggest donor so far and a avid supporter of ocean iron fertilization. So if you're here, Carl, I would love for you to say a few words. If not, we will continue. our plan, our mission is to end global warming by 2050 by restoring the climate to safe pre-industrial levels. Right? That's what we set out to do. That's what Peter told me on the phone 8 years ago. We should restore the climate. But today we're going to see how this big vision is getting closer and closer to implementation, getting closer and closer to the ground. And we will see that the project to restore the climate that we're going to launch together in January is actually very doable. With the right kind of collaboration, the right kind of funding, the right kind of science and engineering. Our mission is clear, right? End global warming by removing the root cause, which is the excess CO2 in the atmosphere. By restoring the climate, we will end this phenomena of global warming and it will become history, hopefully by the middle of the century. Let's move to the next slide. Our main climate restoration pathway, like Hunter said, what we believe is going to remove the tens of gigatons of CO2 from the atmosphere. And really, no other solution comes close to that scale, especially at that price. So our main climate restoration is ocean iron fertilization. And we have our leader here, Peter, to walk us through the process. Go ahead, Peter, please.
Yeah, so many of you have heard this before, and it's very important. What we're modeling with the ocean fertilization is the pathway that nature uses before ice ages, which removes a 1,000 gigatons of CO2 over several thousand years. And it does that with photosynthesis in the ocean. I think all of us are familiar with photosynthesis and growing of trees. What nature does that removes 1,000 gigatons, so vast amounts of CO2, is photosynthesis in the ocean. We'll be accelerating it with iron, which is the missing micronutrient in much of the ocean. There are probably other secondary micronutrients, and we'll discover those as we do more testing. But the idea is that in the couple innovations that are new. So nature spreads the iron with dust storms from deserts, such as the Sahara, and from volcanic eruptions. Those are not very controllable, or probably controllable at all, but distributing it from the back of a ship is. And so we can put the exact amount of iron that's needed in the exact location it's needed. There are two main innovations. One is realizing that when you put food in the ocean, fish eat it and metabolize it. If you grow food in a downwelling eddy, the downwelling eddy, which is a big whirlpool, that Coriolis effect pushes the water down, a little bit like water going down the drain in a bathtub, a little bit, not exactly. That the biocarbon that's produced gets sucked into the deep ocean before the fish metabolize it. And that's a huge breakthrough. The second one is taking a page from agriculture, where farmers have for thousands of years known that you have to, if you're growing a crop, you need to grow another crop, such as beans, which will replenish the nitrogen in the soil. Similarly, in the ocean, in the last couple of years, I and several other researchers have realized that we can induce the nitrogen fixing bacteria in the ocean by providing them the nutrition they need, which is a level of iron, which is about 10 times higher than needed for the phytoplankton, for the algae. And so between the two of those, it appears that we have what we need to replicate what happened after the Mount Pinatubo eruption, which was in 1992. We had a net zero, 20 billion tons of CO2 were photosynthesized and then sunk into the deep ocean. And there's no good reason to think that we can't reproduce that. Next slide. The cost of doing this is surprisingly low. So the amount of iron is astoundingly low. That's the amount of iron required. In those downwelling eddies, you need about the equivalent of 1 grain of salt in a square meter. And that will produce the phytoplankton needed. It may be 10 grains of salt to when the places that you want to grow the nitrogen fixing bacteria. Overall, that comes for the whole planet to remove 60 billion tons a year, which is what we need to deliver our promise of restoring a safe CO2 level by 2050. The cost of that is about a penny per person per day, or per person in the US. And that's about $1 billion a year. We can do that. And to compare that, the financial losses from storms is about $200 billion a year. And that's totally ignoring losses of ecosystems and so on. So it's a smart thing to do, and it requires jump-starting the whole process, both technically, financially, and in terms of public support. Next slide.
So we heard from Peter, right? The big slogan is we're restoring the climate, but really we just need to put some iron on a ship, put it in the ocean at the right time at the right place, and let nature do most of the work. So we can see it's not that complicated. Of course, I know a lot of people say it's not that simple as well. And so that's why we're not going to do that tomorrow. We're going to take the time and develop the technology, the methodologies, the protocols. So our timeline for climate restoration, that's what we're planning to launch in January of 2026, is this 25-year project to restore the climate. That looks something like that. In the first 2 years, we're going to prepare, we're going to do some pilots, we're going to validate the technology, make sure that we know how to do OIF in a single site, and at the same time prepare for scaling up, assuming that everything goes according to plan. And I know, Hunter, it never does, but assuming most of the things are going to go according to plan, we'll be ready to scale up OIF in about 2 years and take about 3 years to deploy it in the number of sites that we need. Right now, we estimate that at around 50 sites across the globe, 25 ships fertilizing the oceans, 500,000 tons of iron per year. That should give us the 60 gigatons of CO2 removal every year that we need. Simple math, 50 gigatons times 20 years, that's the trillion tons of CO2 that we need to remove. And we say 60 because we assume there's going to be some emissions left that we need to account for. So that's the plan. It looks very neat on the presentation. I just want to say, for those of you who don't know me, that I served as a captain in the Israeli Navy, so I know a thing or two about taking ships out into the ocean. So I know this is not going to be easy, but it's definitely doable. Next slide, please. So if we're taking the next 2 years to scale up, that's pretty much our high-level plan for the next 2 years. In the first 6 months of 2026, we'll have teams working in a collaborative way to develop the roadmap, how to scale OIF to 60 gigatons removal per year by 2030, right? So we need to figure out what the requirements are, what the specifications are, develop the projects, figure out the budgets, the permits, all of these things. We're going to review some of these questions. And at the same time, we'll do ocean pilots to develop the solution. TRL, it's a term used by NASA. It stands for Technology Readiness Level. And we're around TRL 5 right now. And so we want to take these 2 years to bring OIF to a readiness level so that it can be ready to deploy it to scale up. Next slide, please. We're now in a very intensive process to develop our organizational capacity. Right now, we have a steering committee that is doing a lot of different things, and the steering committee from now on is going to oversee the transition to the new organizational structure, setting up those teams and committees that we're going to see in a minute. And also, one of the things that the steering committee is going to do is to look at our founder circle, right? Who are the people that can and will step into the founder circle that we announced in our previous meeting, October 8th. If you haven't seen that meeting, if you haven't watched the recording, I suggest you do. So that's what we're announcing today, the formation of the Climate Restoration Alliance, OIF, Ocean Iron Fertilization Steering Committee. And we're going to build that committee starting in November to have it ready to work intensively from January to June of 2026 and build the roadmap to scale OIF by 2030. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay, and Linda has her hand up. Do you want to take a question or move on?
Linda, yes, if it's short, yes.
Yes, we've got a couple questions in the chat. I think we should have Peter address them before we move on.
Okay.
There's first of all a question in the chat about will OIF interfere with the Ocean Protection Treaty that is being put in place right now?
No, it's not going to interfere, honey.
Yeah, I submitted
think-
a response to that, but maybe I just responded to Hans who asked the question. So let me take that.
Okay, got it.
30 by
I see you
30
respond.
Yeah, the 30 by 30 treaty means that the nations of the world has agreed to protect 30% of the oceans by 2030. So the concern was that that treaty will interfere with OIF. We don't see any reason for that to interfere. The treaty is to prevent destructive activities like polluting or overfishing and so on. And what we're doing is restoration. So I don't see any conflict with that. It might actually accelerate OIF as a restoration pathway, as an ocean restoration pathway. Let's take two more questions, Linda.
Yeah, then Hans asked, how do you convince organizations like Greenpeace to endorse your plans?
By talking to them. And we'll get there.
Yeah, ask him to set up the appointments. We will convince them.
Yes. In past years and decades, I've discussed it with high officials in Greenpeace, and they're fine with it as long as they get support from the scientific community.
Yeah, so I'd like to keep the questions to the end until they're unless they're critical for us to move forward. We're going to have the presentation is going to be about 25 minutes more, and then we'll open it up to questions and conversations. So let's move to the next slide. Very good. So we said that in the first 6 months of 2026, we'll develop the OIF roadmap for scaling until 2030. And so these are the questions that we are going to deal with at that steering committee. The steering committee is going to be co-led by Peter and myself. We recognize this is the most important activity in terms of climate restoration. And so we're going to dive deeper just a little bit into this question, not because we want to find the answers right now, but because we want you to listen and see if you or somebody you know has the skills, the experience, the contacts, and the passion to jump in and help us find the answers to these questions. So you'll see that not everybody has to be a marine biologist or a reputable scientist to come help with OIF. There is money questions, there is logistics, operations, permits, international relationships, media, communication. So there is an opportunity for everybody to jump in and help. So Peter, if we look at the first question, how do we develop OIF so it's ready to scale in 2 years? What kind of people, what kind of resources, what kind of organizations we need in order to answer that question?
That would be project management in general. That people who have done major projects and are familiar with the logistics of making a lot of things happen at the right time in the right place.
Perfect. What about scientists, marine biologists, engineers, things like that.
Well, that's all part of it. So
Yeah.
as you look at the other 11 items, that's all included.
Very good. So the next question we're going to deal with, and we've been dealing with that over the last year as we did the first steps of the buoy and sensor development. What needs to be measured and how we measure it? How do we find the answers to that?
Well, it's interesting because the normal way to find those answers is to look in the scientific literature, which would be great, except that there is no scientific literature related to restoring CO2 levels. And so people will look at related literature, but that's a little bit like studying tulip growing in order to grow corn. It's helpful, but it can be misleading. So what needs to be measured is, again, it's a matter of project management. What information do you need? And primarily, of course, that's measuring CO2 levels.
Very good. Next question is, how do we collect the data and analyze it? What kind of people do we need for that?
There's a lot of information processing required to collect all the data that's coming in and compile it into useful answers. The key to all of these is knowing who's the consumer, who's the customer for the data. And so some of the data is needed by the engineers to optimize their process. Some of the data is needed by the investors to optimize their investments. And some of the data is needed by uh, reporters and the media to satisfy the curiosity and concerns of the public. And all three of those communities need to be accommodated.
Very good. So that answers the next question. Also, how do we report? Who needs to be informed? And how do we engage the media? So you already answered that, but we know that OIF has some controversy around it. So how do we handle, bad publicity?
Well, you mentioned it in terms of the issue with Greenpeace. How do you deal with Greenpeace? Is you talk with them, you have dinner with them, you make them feel safe that they can trust you, and that requires time and relationship. Uh, People think that data will convince people. Uh, Humans aren't data machines; we're emotion machines, and so we find the data uh, to confirm our emotional responses. So that's how we do it, is through relationship and trust and some good humor.
Very good. Let's take another question. How do we identify, validate, and secure 50 sites by 2030? This team of people must love travel to go and inspect all of these sites. What permits do we need and how do we get them? Peter, how do we deal with the issue of permits, international treaties, um, things like that?
It's the same as the question earlier about who needs to be informed. It's been confirmed quite a few times that technically there are no permits required. Technically is irrelevant. Practically, we have to apply for permits in order to maintain trust. If there's no trust, we will be stopped because the future of our planet is too important to, everyone knows that it's too important to let rogue operators just try out some wild ideas. So uh, accountability is totally critical.
Very good.
Yeah,
Um,
and
so
so let me just yeah, so the answer to that is a very complicated aspect of looking at who do we need to convince and develop relationship with, and then the permits certify that we have those relationships.
Excellent. So, Judy, if you can paste those questions in the chat, so people have them in front of them. And has
I think,
anybody?
Elon, I
Yes.
had sent you something to tell you. I can't do that while I'm doing this. So I asked,
Ah,
actually, I sent a note to Linda to maybe see if she could do it.
very good. Okay, so I'll do it in a second. As you can see, many questions. There's probably questions we haven't thought about. That's why we have the question. What questions are we not yet asking ourselves? And so this is not just about scientists and engineers. This is about everybody. I know a few people here, Kevin, Frank, and don't remember who else, but they already want to be on that committee and kind of be a part of that conversation and make sure that we're heading in the right place. And this cannot be a one-man show or even a one organization show. We have to have all the relevant perspective and voices around the table, exactly because of what Peter said. It can't be a rogue operation. We're accountable to 8.2 billion people, and I don't know how many billions of future generations that are waiting to see what happens. Very good. So, based on what we've heard so far, if you think you want to participate in the OIF steering committee, and from there, focus on specific tasks and projects and answers to these questions and so on. Please raise your virtual hand. I just want to see if anybody already knows that they want to be on that committee. Yeah, we have Chris, Ray, very good. I assume we have some people from Deep Green here. I see Ellen, I think Tan is here. So you're obviously welcome to join as well. Your input is very valuable. I see Ron, Brian Webster. Thank you very much. Good. So listen carefully. The next meeting on November 12 is going to focus on launching and structuring the OIF steering committee. Let's go to the next slide. Very good. So I want to give a special acknowledgement to Kevin Shanley, who's here with us. Kevin couldn't be with us in the previous meeting, so we had the recorded message. Kevin is here with us today, but Kevin, do you want to speak or do you want us to play the video?
I think you covered some really great material that I covered in the video. So rather than duplicate that, I would just like to stress, you talked about the science. This is not a out there rogue kind of topic. That there are institutions of the very highest level of scientific integrity looking at ocean iron fertilization. Woods Hole, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute are two examples. And they're doing deep science. And that deep science will involve tests and protocols that will take years and years, maybe decades, to kind of come to their level of academic scientific respectability. We don't have that kind of time. We've got to get some on the ground or on the water, if you will, testing done. This OIF pilot project is key to feeding information back into those groups, for instance, and we will be partnering with various members of their collaborative groups. But we've got to get started. Somebody's got to get some iron out there on the water. And this initiative is to try to jumpstart that. It's in some ways a fair amount of money. In some ways, it's a small amount of money to sort of get the process started. And I would like to challenge each of you to become a climate champion, which just means committing $5,000 a year for 3 years. That gives the organization some stability. And if we just get 20 people committing to just $5,000 a year, then I will match it with $100,000 for 3 years. Each year we get 20 additional people. We can raise just over $1 million doing that. I'm hoping that out there in the world, there's some people with much deeper pockets than I have who can similarly become angels and maybe double what I can match or triple it or quadruple it, so that we can leverage up with the resources to get this really good scientific and engineering team, get them started next year without any delay.
Very good. Thank you very much, Kevin. Your leadership and generosity really enable us to get to the next level. of our work. So we're all very grateful for that. And not only that, we followed your model. And based on the structure that you created for the challenge grant, we expanded that into what we now call the Climate Restoration Founder Circle. So the Founder Circle that we announced last week, we shared that plan with the small group of founders. These are the 1,000 people, give or take, 1,000 people, organizations, and family offices who will be remembered as those who made climate restoration happen. So the champions that are committing right now $5,000 a year for 3 years will become founders. Kevin himself, committing $100,000 for 3 years, set the example for what we call climate restoration angels. We have three of those. We have Carl Page, Kirk Lafton here with us, and then Kevin is the most recent one. So imagine if we have 100 climate restoration angels instead of three. Somebody do the math and write in the chat how much we can raise that way. What if we have 100 family offices that commit $25,000 a year for 3 years to become a climate restoration founding family office or a founding corporation? So one of the things that we're going to develop is the Founder Circle program and bringing those people, not just because of the money is obviously very important, but also because that every founder that steps in with commitment, and the founders that we already have contributed way more than just the financial contribution. Coming to meetings. Kirk even went with us to Togo. Thank you very much, Kevin, for what you've created. The person that has brought Kevin, his name is Bob. He's our treasurer, volunteer treasurer. He couldn't be here today, but he recorded the message for us last night. Let's hear a message from Bob.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Wright, volunteer treasurer of the Grandparents Fund for Climate Restoration and a proud climate restoration champion. It's an honor to welcome you all to this milestone gathering on October 22nd, Community Mobilization, where we take another big step toward restoring our planet's climate. This isn't just another climate meeting. This is where we announce a 25-year global coordinated project to end global warming by 2050. We've moved beyond awareness. Now it's about coordinated action. In just the past year, the Grandparents Fund both funded and managed projects like the buoy test for ocean iron fertilization and the Togo Bamboo Project. Now we're transitioning to a model where grantees take over implementation while the grandparents focus on fundraising and grant management. Every dollar raised, every volunteer hour, every idea shared, it all adds up. As volunteer treasurer, I want to assure you that every contribution is managed responsibly and directed toward measurable impact. Projects that remove carbon, restore ecosystems, and empower communities. Your support fuels this momentum. It's how we turn vision into verifiable results. If you're inspired by what you hear today, join me and become a climate restoration champion. The commitment is just $5,000 per year for 3 years. Together, we are not just reducing harm, we are restoring the climate. Thank you for being part of this global family. Thank you for your trust, your generosity, and your faith in what's possible. Let's make history and restore the climate for our grandchildren and future generations.
Very good. I want to acknowledge Bob. He's just showed up, stepped in to help with the financial management upgrade, bringing Bob in, working on the organizational structure. Really, just a pleasure to work with. And I want to acknowledge at this point a few of our champions that have already stepped in. Bob was actually the first one. We have Kirk, Ron, Matheson, Melanie Trent. So Melanie said, I can't do 5,000 a year, but I can do 1,000 a year for 3 years. And that's totally fine. So any amount works. We inviting 20 champions at $5,000, but we can bring a few people together. You can bring some support from your family and your friends. Diane Warren is a champion. Frank and Terry Sanitate, Eloise and Richard are here with us also. Linda is a champion, and then Robert Carey is our newest champion. Thank you very much. And at this point, if anybody knows that they want to step in as a champion and want to do that publicly, you can raise your hand or use the party popper, and we'll stop and congratulate you as you step into the founder's circle. And if, for people that don't want to do it publicly, drop us a note and we'll follow up. Very good. So let's get back to the presentation. We started the talking about the organizational structure. So this is the structure that we want to start the year with. The first committee that we're going to develop is the OIF Steering Committee, and we took the time to figure out what question needs to be answered. And when we're going to talk about our next series of events, the next one, November 12th, is going to focus on launching the OIF Steering Committee. But that wouldn't be enough. We need a few more committees, a few more teams in place. The Climate Restoration Finance is going to be the next team that we're going to set up. We already have AM there as our fundraising facilitator, and Bob as our retired CPA, volunteer treasurer, bringing a lot of experience. The Climate Restoration Finance will deal with the question, how do we ensure sufficient funding for climate restoration by 2050? And then the next three committees are going to be global movement. This is about bringing millions of people into climate restoration, partnerships, bringing the organizations that we need, and the climate restoration industry. Kirk, if you have a few more minutes, I'll call on you on the next slide to talk about the climate restoration industry. So let's talk just a little bit about each one of these committees. Next slide, please. So the CRA Steering Committee is an existing committee. I want to acknowledge Chuck, Judy, and Frank for doing such a great job for the last 2.5 years. Now they took on the task of overseeing the transition to the new organizational structure. The OIF Steering Committee, we've talked about this a lot. The mission of that committee is to figure out how to scale OIF in 5 years to 60 gigatons per year CO2 removal. The Finance Committee will ensure that climate restoration has sufficient and uninterrupted funding. Next slide, please. The Global Movement Steering Committee, this is about bringing people in. Our target is 1 million people by the end of 2026 and 1 billion people by the end of the decade. This will include the ambassadors program, the Climate Restoration Pledge, Climate Restoration Resolution, online marketing, social media, all of the above. The Partnership Committee will engage mission-aligned organizations to join the alliance and play their part in the global climate restoration effort. The OIF Steering Committee might say to the Partnership Committee, hey, we need to partner with a few global fishing companies because we need that for our plan, right? So the committees are going to work in a collaborative and synchronized way. And then the last committee is the Climate Restoration Industry Steering Committee, designed to design the emerging ecosystem of companies, investors, technologies, and professionals restoring the climate. So I'd like to call on Kirk first and then AM to speak on behalf of your committees. Kirk, please.
Okay, can you hear me? Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Great. So thanks so much. It's really exciting to be here. And just wanted to say thank you so much to Alan and Peter. You've been working on this for 8 years, long at the tail end of it, but boy, it sure looks really, really doable to me. And a couple of things that I wanted to make sure everybody's aware of, because I heard mentions of the buoys, but maybe not everyone is aware that Alan, you've created a team that actually made 3 or 4 buoys with some really smart scientists who are, some of whom are here. And the idea is to be able to float them out in the water in the areas where the iron is being dispersed, so that we can actually get measurements showing that we actually are removing the carbon dioxide. And once we have some of that data, I think just worldwide support will come flooding in, because I mean, there's enormous concern, and very few, if any, viable solutions. So it's just really exciting to see that coming along. And as Peter says, just the tiniest little bit of iron in the right place just causes this explosion of life, which, as we know, whenever something grows, it's working with nature and draws down the carbon dioxide. So it's exciting to be part of that. The particular committee that Ilan mentioned that I'm excited to be part of has to do with what we'll be doing. There's going to be, to get the climate to be restored, there's going to be dozens and dozens, probably hundreds of different companies and different market sectors around the world. And so this committee, of which Ilan and I will be heading, has to do with designing the ecosystem that's going to allow those multitude of companies to work together to accomplish the mission that we want. And so we're designing the roadmap for how this is going to work. We'll be designing the standards, the business models, investment flows, what it will take to have this be profitable and scalable. So if you're an entrepreneur, a technologist, an investor, or a systems thinker, this is the place to contribute, to participate. We'll be meeting 1 to 2 times a month, launching focus groups to get some real results. So that's the invitation. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kirk. Just a small correction. I've been doing this for 8 years. I think Peter's been doing this for, twice as long. Very good. So in that context, we have with us Mr. Conlambig and Dr. Folega from Togo. Mr. Conlambig, would you like to say a few words? Mr. Conlambig is the coordinator of an NGO called RF. That's a Togolese NGO. Are you with us, Conlambig?
Ok.
Allez-y.
Moi, je suis Colambig, je suis le coordonnateur de l'ONG AREF, Action réelle sur l'enfant et la femme.
I'm the coordinator of the IRF NGO.
Je suis ravi de participer à ce Zoom. Je salue tous les participants et remercie particulièrement les organisateurs, M. Ilan.
I'm very happy to be a part of this Zoom session. Thanks to all participants, and in particular the organizers.
Notre organisation AREF travaille depuis 15 ans sur les questions environnementales en apportant des solutions d'adaptation au changement climatique.
Our organization has been working for 15 years, providing adaptation solutions to the climate challenges.
Donc, en tant qu'ONG, nous avons toujours le concours de certains bailleurs de fonds comme la Banque mondiale, que nous avons déjà travaillé avec, l'Union européenne, le Fonds pour l'environnement mondial.
As an NGO, we have the support of the World Bank, the European Union, and the World Fund for the Environment, among others.
Et le Programme des Nations Unies pour le développement, le PNUD, qui nous soutient aussi.
And the United Nations Development Program, which is supporting us financially too.
Donc, cette année 2005, nous nous sommes concentrés sur le développement d'un partenariat avec le CNR pour préparer ce projet ambitieux de culture de bambou au nord du Togo, dans la région des savanes.
So this year, we have been working a lot with our partners from the CNR to develop a project of planting bamboo in the northern part of the country.
Let me just clarify, CNR stands for CRN in English, which is the Climate Restoration Network, right? So the Climate
Thank you.
Restoration Alliance is the umbrella organization. The Climate Restoration Network is the network that's going to deploy the projects on the ground.
Perfect. Donc,
Donc,
le CRN en anglais, CNR, CRN,
okay.
Climate Restoration Network.
Yes, thank you.
Donc, la mise en œuvre de cet ambitieux projet nécessite l'adhésion des plus hautes autorités et les propriétaires terriens.
So to implement this huge project, we need the coordination of authorities and agreement of the main landowners.
Donc, les autorités togolaises, à travers le ministère en charge de l'environnement, ont marqué leur accord pour la mise en œuvre de ce projet au Togo.
So the Ministry of Environment, Togolese from Togo, has agreed to start implementing this project in Togo.
Bon, cette adhésion du gouvernement est matérialisée par la visite d'une délégation du CNR au Togo le 10 août 2025.
This agreement, this governmental agreement, has been put in place with the visit of CRN delegation to Togo in August 2025.
Donc, la délégation a rencontré la première responsable de notre ONG, Madame Somoko, et le ministre de l'Environnement.
So they have met the responsible of our NGO, Mrs. Tonoko, and the Minister of the Environment.
Puis la délégation est descendue dans la région des savanes pour rencontrer les autorités locales et les propriétaires terriens et visiter les zones potentielles pour le projet.
This delegation has next visited the area considered suitable for the project and met the local authorities and the representatives of the landowners.
Donc, je puis vous assurer que les populations adhèrent à ce projet et sont prêts à mettre à disposition leurs terres pour la culture du bambou.
And I can assure you that the population is now supporting the project and they are ready to make their lands available for bamboo cultivation.
Bon, après cette visite du CNR au Togo, la prochaine étape que nous attendons est la mobilisation et la sécurisation des 10 000 hectares.
So after this visit, the next step that we are expecting is the securization and availability of the 10,000 hectares.
Bon, pour ce faire, AREF a transmis au CNR le plan de mobilisation et de sécurisation des 10 000 hectares.
In this sense, the NGO has transferred to the CNR the plan of securization and mobilization of these 10,000 hectares.
Bon, ce projet, si elle est mise en œuvre, impactera les populations.
This project, once implemented, will impact the populations.
Des emplois seront créés.
It will create employment.
Ouais, à travers l'exploitation et la transformation du bambou qui va générer des revenus pour les populations et réduira la pauvreté.
Through growing and treating the bamboo, creating employment and reducing the poverty.
Donc, la culture du bambou est importante pour le climat car il absorbe rapidement une grande quantité du CO2 grâce à sa croissance rapide, tout en libérant plus d'oxygène que les autres arbres.
The cultivation of bamboo is important for the climate because it releases a great amount of oxygen while growing faster than other trees.
Donc, le réseau racinière du bambou contribue également à la santé des sols.
the cultivation of bamboo capture carbons and contribute also to the health of the ground.
Donc, il participe ainsi à la lutte contre l'effet de serre et au rafraîchissement de l'air ambiant.
So it contributes to the refreshment of the air and the purification of the surrounding atmosphere.
Bon, notre souhait est que les investisseurs accordent une importance capitale à cette phase de sécurisation des terres, gage de réussite de ce projet.
So our concern is that the investors should give a particular attention to this phase of securization of the lands, which is a key to the success of the project.
Je vous remercie. Thank you.
Thank you
Very
for your
good.
attention.
Very good. Merci beaucoup, Conlambig. Thank you very much, Andre, for your translation. I think you should come with us to Togo next time and be the translator.
I will be happy.
Very good. Mr. Conlambig, as the coordinator of RF, organized the visit that we had to Togo in August and did a phenomenal job. We met with the Madame Somoko, the president's wife of Togo. She's the president of the organization, with the Minister of the Environment, and then with over 90 landowners, local government, and so on. And over 75 landowners signed up for the project. So very positive response. And bamboo as one of the drawdown solutions that can remove gigatons of CO2 from the atmosphere if deployed at scale. Bamboo is a climate restoration pathway that can be deployed right now. So OIF, ocean fertilization, is our main climate restoration pathway, removing most of the CO2 from the atmosphere. And bamboo is one of the other climate restoration solutions pathways that would allow us to start flexing our implementation muscles, build our infrastructure, figure out how to talk to governments and global organizations, so that when we're ready to scale OIF, we're actually going to be ready to scale it quickly. Thank you very much, Mr. Conlambig. Dr. Folega, would you like to say a very few words, just to say hi, introduce yourself? Dr. Folega is from the University of Lomé, and he's accompanying that project from the scientific perspective. And he's also an expert of ecosystem restoration. Are you with us, Dr. Folega? All right, if you are, let me know and you can speak. Let's move to the next slide. All right, so let's do a little recap. This is where we are. 2 weeks ago, on October 8th, we had the first Climate Restoration Founders Gathering. We recognized ourselves as founders. Like Hunter said, we are the people we've been waiting for. This meeting, October 22nd, is a community mobilization. So the people that have been with us for a long time and the people just came for the first time. You just made it, right? The bus is about to leave the station. The train is about to take off. And we need everybody. Everybody to jump in. Everybody can help with time, money, information, contacts, insight, ideas. Please pay attention to what is happening and figure out where your place is within one of these structures. After this meeting, we're going to resume our sprint to finish preparing everything by the end of the year. Our fundraising goal is $200,000. We're about 25% of the way there. So we definitely need everybody's help, whether you can personally commit to be a champion or if you can bring other people. Once we raise $200,000, then we stop focusing 100% on fundraising and we shift our focus to actually building these teams, these structures, and getting ready for launch in January. The other thing we're going to do between now and the end of the year is set up those committees. The two first committees that we're going to launch are the OIF Steering Committee and the Climate Restoration Finance Committee. So if you're interested in those, pay attention to the upcoming events so you can join these activities. And when we've raised $200,000, when we met our fundraising goal and the committees are ready on January 22nd, we're going to officially kick off the 25-year project to restore the climate. And then we'll get the matching grant from Kevin, and we're going to have enough money, enough fuel in the tank to start 2026, hit the ground running, like they say. So this is the time, this is the place, we are the people, and let's focus on getting those goals met and finding our places within that structure so that everybody can give their contribution and share their gifts. Next slide, please. So this is how things are going to roll out over the next couple of months. On November 12th, we're going to have the kickoff event of the OIF Steering Committee. If we meet our goal by November 12th, and I hope that we do, then this will be a work session. If not, it's going to be half work session and half fundraising session because we need to reach our goal. On November 27, we're going to have the final climate restoration community update for this year, and we're calling it the pre-launch climate restoration community update. Once we launch in January, the structure is going to shift. There's going to be different monthly events, and we're going to let you know what is happening. On December 10, we're going to have the finance committee kickoff. Both the OIF committee and the finance committee are by invitation only. So if you want to be a part of that, reach out to myself, Judy, Linda, AM, and we'll make sure that you're invited. The November 27 and the January 22nd, the official kickoff of the project is open for everybody. And so by January, I'd like to have at least 500 people in that Zoom. Yes, Linda, question.
November 27th is Thanksgiving Day in the US, so if you want a lot of US participation, you might want to pick a different day.
That's a very good point, and I wish somebody would have told me that, before the meeting. So we'll figure out if we want to change it. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that, Linda. Next slide, please. Very good. So we're at the end of the presentation, a few minutes behind schedule. So we have another 15 minutes for Q&A. This is the time. This is the moment. We are the people. Don't hold back. If you want to see climate restoration happen, and you do, now is the time. We're getting ready for takeoff. And we have to have enough fuel in the tank for takeoff. Otherwise, we're going to crash. And that's not going to happen. So if you're willing to step up, ready to step in, right now as a champion, $5,000 for 3 years, let us know, or follow up with any one of the team. Climate Restoration Angels, $100,000 a year for 3 years. But the reality is that we need the people, we need the money. So any amount helps. And pretty soon there's going to be another link. If you're not a monthly donor, I think that's very, very important to see that, even if it's $10, $20, to see that every month reminder that we're committed to climate restoration. So if you're not a monthly donor, consider becoming one, whatever amount you're comfortable with. Again, our fundraising goal is $200,000 by the end of the year. So I think that's it. Do we have another slide? Yes, we do. Okay, so here's the link. We're going to put that in the chat. That's for the monthly donation. If you want to become a champion, a founder, an angel, any of the above, reach out to us. That's what we're focused on for the next 2.5 months, is to meet our fundraising goal. So I think that's it. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's take off the deck and open it up for questions. Please, I would like to hear from all of you. Specifically, I would like to hear from our new champions, Ron, Eloise. Um, we have Terry here with us. Terry, would you like to say hi? Well, no, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Okay, sure. I want to say hello. I just want to say that I'm ecstatic that we've come to focus on one thing that is the thing that can do it rather than having the conversation about 10 different things that are possibilities of doing it. I thought that Peter Furkowski's description of the ocean ironization project was really clear, and that I long ago thought that might be the best one for us to focus on. So I'm really glad that you came around to focusing on that one because that's the one we can do. The two questions I have is if we raise all the money, is there any legal barriers that we might run into to putting this stuff into the ocean? And what was my second question? My second question was, I forget the second question. But is there any legal barriers? Because if we raise the money and we get the stuff happening, the second question was, is there any way we can get some quick proof that it's working so we can document that for people so that they can support the rest of the journey?
Very good. So Peter already answered the first question. Peter, if you can repeat that answer about the permits and the treaties and the international legal framework.
Yeah. So, Marcus also added some notes that if you're going to do it in U.S. waters, you have to get an EPA permit, but technically you don't need a permit. Practically, you absolutely have to get permits. But our interactions with the EPA are that they're eager to get us permits that will pass muster by the public. And so there's, to my knowledge, no opposition. We just have to go through the motions, go through the work.
But does that go for international waters, Peter?
Yeah, in international waters, again, there's technically no requirement, but there's strong recommendations that you get permits. So we're absolutely going to get permits.
Where do you get permits for international waters?
EPA. Because they also represent
the EPA in the United States or China.
Well, you would if you're in waters near a nation, you would talk to their EPA, of course. But our EPA represents the activities of the UN's anti-dumping protocol.
Okay, I thank you for more clarification on that. And is there some way that we can prove that it's working after we've dumped a bunch of iron in the water for a period of time?
So that's what we're working on right now, Terry. And we plan to have the first pilot in 2026 where there's actually iron in the water and CO2 removed. Some of the deep green people are here. They're working on the permit from the EPA. That is expected, based on what I heard from Tan, to be submitted around February and take, kind of best case around 6 months to get an approval. So that specific test that includes the iron in the water should happen in the second half or the fourth quarter of 2026.
Okay.
Elon, if I can add a technical thing to that, we can get a strong answer just in the next 6 months because as we finish the work that we're doing with the satellite data, because there's a lot of ocean fertilization that's happening right now. We just have to measure it, and we can do that. And so we don't need to add any iron. We don't need permits. Therefore, we don't need permits to prove that it works.
Okay. Those were the two questions I wanted more clarity on. I'm just ecstatic that we're focused on the one thing that can do it and just do that and that one.
Yes, we will do that. Thank you. Andre, do you have a question? Please say a few words, introduce yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just a question is, since I am interested in the program of Brian von Herzen, the aquaculture marine platform, which develop algae that capture carbon, but mostly in coastal waters, which for where we need permits. If we create a new program, for example, here in Panama, could we add and ask at the same time for an authorization to develop iron fertilization in the area of growing algae? Could we somehow couple the two? Just a question. Is it interesting? Would it be interesting?
I think this is a great question, and I think it is interesting. Let's take this offline. I can tell you that we are very friendly and very appreciative of the work that Brian is doing with the Climate Foundation, and have been in communication with him on and off for the last, 8 or 7 years. And in the same way that we see bamboo as the land-based climate restoration pathway that we can start implementing right now, I think seaweed is in the same category in the ocean. So as soon as we have the capacity to add seaweed to our portfolio of solutions, we will do that. And Brian is the number one candidate for that. And for those who don't know, Brian has been developing technology to do large-scale marine permaculture. So OIF is all about microalgae, micro seaweed. And what Brian is working is actually growing macroalgae, big seaweed, kelp. And it's like agriculture on land, right? So they have a platform that is at the surface of the ocean during the day to receive sun and do photosynthesis. And then during the night, it goes down to the depth of the ocean where the nutrients are. So that technology accelerates the growth of seaweed and allows it to grow where right now there are no nutrients at the surface level. So that's a very interesting solution and is getting close to commercializing that technology. Thank you very much, Andre, and let's talk about that. Eloise, please. You're on mute.
If we have an idea for someone who might be good on the steering committee, what do you recommend as the best possible way to inform them about this whole project in climate restoration?
Very good question. If anybody else wants to take that question, you can jump in. What I would say is to first have a conversation and find out what's important to them. If they care about their children and grandchildren, if they're passionate about solving the climate crisis and getting out of this existential threat, then if that's the case, let's set up a meeting. Let's have them ask questions, like get to know each other and see what is the best way to bring them in. And also, there's a lot of information on the website. The recordings of previous meetings. Back in May, we had a full session on the science and engineering of OIF. So if anybody wants to investigate that deeper. So great question, Eloise, and that's true for everybody, right? Let's have these conversations. If somebody is interested, let's help them get educated and bring them into the conversation and then into the action.
So you and maybe Peter are willing to have conversations with good candidates?
Absolutely, yes. Send them my way. I'll coordinate. It could be me, it could be Peter, it could be somebody else. Yes, please. Thank you very much, Eloise, and congratulations on becoming champions. Ray, please go ahead.
Thank you. My question is about downwelling eddies. We want to select a fixed number of them. And my question is, do those move with time or are they pretty stationary in the ocean?
Peter, that's for you, I assume.
Yeah, they move around, and we're not sure how we're going to deal with that. Nature deals with it. We're not sure how nature deals with it, but we'll learn from we'll figure that out. They don't move quickly, but they do move.
Very good, thank you.
How do we detect where they are in the first place?
That's right. It's easy to track, fortunately. There are satellites that track it very accurately on a daily basis or weekly basis.
Very good, thank you. Chris, I'll be with you in a minute, but Frank, I would like for you, Frank Sanitati, I would like for you to speak next after Chris. I'll introduce you before I speak. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is about the impact, the negative impact of this process, given that, for example, using Greenland as an example, Greenland has been collecting the carbon goes down with the heavy snow in Greenland, and then the carbon gets trapped in the ice, the on the ice sheet, the Greenland ice sheet, and that unknowingly or unexpectedly has had the effect of melting the glaciers faster because instead of it being
Chris, we're having a hard time hearing you, but I think
oh,
you're
sorry.
asking
How
about
about that?
negative side effects. Is that what you're asking
Yeah.
about? Very good.
So the negative impact is the carbon that is being compacted onto the glacier is turning the ice dark, making it dark, which means it's absorbing the sunlight instead of reflecting it like it's supposed to. And that was and causing the glacier to melt even faster. And that's just one example. So what do you think the negative implications could be for pulling this much carbon down to the ocean floor, especially given the fact that we don't really know much about the ocean floor, relatively speaking, as far as what we can say science has proven to exist on this. So yeah, if we're pulling that much carbon to the ocean floor, the negative implications, the negative impact on the ecosystem is kind of is an open question.
Of course, this is something that we're going to look at, and I saw that you're interested in joining the OIF steering committee, so these questions are going to come up. Because we don't have a lot of time, I'll just answer shortly. We don't know of any negative side effects. We know of positive side effects, which is the regeneration of the ocean, lots of fish and lots of life in the ocean. But of course, we'll monitor anything that needs to be monitored and we'll be careful. Let's take this deeper on our November 12th conversation. Chris, you're welcome to join us. And these questions are going to come up, and we'll find the ways to address them. So we're almost at the end of the hour. If anybody wants, they can stay for a little bit longer and chat. But officially, we're almost out of time. So I want to thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you're just as excited as we are. Climate restoration is no longer just a vision; it's a project, something we can, measure, we can manage, we can raise money for, we can implement. So that's a big, big, big step forward. Over the next 2 months, we'll finish fundraising the $200,000 that we need and set up the committees. And January 1st, it's go time. Spread the word, let everybody know. So I want to thank everybody. If you have to leave, you can leave now. The meeting is over. But if you want to stay, we can stay for a few more minutes to answer more questions and hang out. Thank you very much.
Will you put your email back up so we know who to send money to?
Oh, yes. Let me just put that in the chat. Thank you very much, Jane. We're still waiting for your ambassador information.
Oh, okay. Let me talk to someone
Okay.
about what's needed.
Very good. Good. Anybody? Is Beth here with us? Beth from Kenya, are you still with us?
No.
I don't see her. Okay, so I'll just say a few words about Beth. She stepped in as a volunteer, bringing 20 years experience in global operations and HR and logistics. And she's now in the process of, she's a candidate to be the director of operations for our organization. So that's great to have somebody from Kenya. She's very excited about the Togo project, wants to help. So I wish you were here to say a few words. Frank, we would love to hear from you. And I just want to say that, Frank, I don't know if it's because, are you over 80, Frank, already?
Yes.
Yes. So I got the feeling from conversation with Frank that he wants to see this happening very, very soon. So he pushed us and he insisted that we be bold and that we move forward. And the momentum that we have is also thanks to you, Frank. Frank is also one of our champions. Please say a few words.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can.
All right, great. This was the only morning in 10 years that my computer wouldn't work, so I'm on via telephone, which is nice. Yeah, I like the way you're presenting things. There is a plan. There's a way of moving, and I just look forward to inviting people to invest in that and spreading the word. That's what I got to say.
Very
No,
good.
Frank, I would like to come in and say to you that what I'm beginning to feel is so important about what's happening here. People in the private sector have to get together and make these things happen. You know, looking to governments, international agencies, et cetera, is not the solution. Yes, it can be a part of the solution, but they need leadership. And so, what Alan and Peter and everybody here is doing a private sector thing of setting a goal, revealing there's a way to get to it, and then the funding way to do it, and the committees putting it together, and it's a private sector activity. And it's just like when you do something beautiful, people come and say, "Can I play? I want to be a part of it." So I think it's wonderful that we're doing this as a private sector activity. And Alan and Peter, I just give you particular praise for having the courage to find your way to launching this to make this happen, because this is what's going to make it happen. It's not going to happen by going to conferences.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. So who wants to see ships in the water next year?
Me.
Very good. Very good. Peter Garrett, anything you want to say? Is Dr. Paula still with us? I would like to hear from you as well. Peter Garrett, anything you'd like to
add? No, just what Terry said. I agree with it just completely. I'm very pleased that you're doing it and having it as a private, exciting kind of a project with some new things to be learned, and a lot of people, as many as possible, taking part. I can see all of the connections I have in my life, getting them to work. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Peter, we appreciate your presence and support all of this time. Brian Webster, if you can open your video, do you have a camera?
Yeah, I have a camera. I'm laying in bed. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. If you don't want to open
yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm lying in bed with my, unshaven with my hair a mess. But anyway.
We got the picture.
I just wanted to say I'm very pleased to hear that Peter is writing a second book.
Yes.
As an activist, I have experience in trying to set up meetings with Peter, particularly a climate focused billionaire in San Francisco, giving him an autographed copy of Peter's first book. I would strongly suggest when Peter publishes his second book, he comes up with a 20, 30-page summary of the book that he can autograph and give to people so that they don't have to read a 200 and 250 word book. They can just read the summary and say, yes, I want to support this. I'll get on a Zoom call with Peter or Elon, and we can talk about, how I can support the effort. But we really need a summary, not second book is fine, but we need a 20, 30-page summary for very busy people to get the idea and then commit to a 1-hour meeting so that they can get on board for the goals that we need to accomplish.
Absolutely, absolutely, Brian, and thank you very much for your support. We look forward to seeing the results of these efforts. And I want to say that we also need, 90-second short video that explains the whole, 25-year project very quickly. That's why we need those 200,000 plus the 100 from Kevin so that we can set up all of these communication platforms and marketing strategies and all of that to support our OIF scale up. Very good. Chuck, first of all, thank you for staying with us. I know, we're very busy people, but this is obviously very, very important to all of us. Chuck Tomaselli, if you want to say a few words, and I see Kirk is back, if you want to say some final words.
Hi, Kirk. We've met, but haven't really connected directly. So good to see you, and thanks for all you're doing. I just want to mention that when Peter and Ilan first met me, they reached out to me because I said one thing in an email when I was looking for a white paper, and that was that I was a Rotarian and in Rotary. And I want to let you know that if I'm committed to, and my passion is to have Rotary International take on climate restoration as its next global mission. And Rotary is a service organization of over 1.4 million individuals with a network around the globe that can have an incredible impact in getting this information out and getting the kind of grassroots support that's needed. So any of you, I put my email in the chat, but if you're a Rotarian or if you know someone who's in Rotary and would like to play with me and having this happen, please connect. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much, Chuck. And I just want to say that Chuck is the person that brought in the most pledges and resolutions up until now by far, hundreds of people. And as we're kind of, going up the chain of command in Rotary, to have the entire Rotary International join the climate restoration project, we've been engaging with clubs and with districts, and even got some financial support from Rotarians to support the buoy and sensor project. We're having initial conversations with the Rotary clubs in Togo to help with the bamboo project, and the Rotary network is definitely something that we can leverage as we're building our own network and capacity to restore the climate anywhere in the world. So thank you very much, Chuck, for everything that you've done and keep on doing. Anybody else?
Okay.
Very good. So
I think, Elon, one more thing. I don't think you said too much about the steering committee that's going to manage this transition. And
Yes,
I just would like
please.
to invite people because, we've been like this very small group of people, 4 or 5 people, just kind of watching how we got to where we are. And now we need more people. We know we need to increase or expand the steering committee because we're doing so much more. So we really need people to kind of step up and say, I think I'd be interested in that want to oversee a transition into this much bigger structure that we're creating.
So the same question I asked Peter, Judy, what kind of people, what kind of skills are we looking for?
Well, I think one thing is people that can take a broad view and like look at a lot of information and look at kind of like structures, because this isn't a committee that will necessarily go on, but it's going to oversee the being built of something until everything is firmly in place.
Yeah. So I think, people like business development people or organizational development,
Yeah, people that
human
understand
resources.
organizational. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you very much for this, Judy. Yes. So in the follow-up, we'll send a list of places that you can step in and help, depending on your interest and skills and background. Anybody else?
No, thank you. Yeah.
Well, Elon,
Yes.
Vic Comfort, who was on this earlier, is making a film about climate restoration and interviewed Peter. And I think people should know about that. It's going to be coming out very soon.
Yeah, very good. Yes. If there like a website or something, if you can send that to me, that'll be amazing.
Okay. Yeah.
Very good. So we are complete. We have mobilized our community. We are now in a 2.5 months mobilization process, and we want to be ready for January 2026 to start the 25-year project to restore the climate. This is very, very exciting. And we need your help to step into the role that fits you in that evolving structure and to help us reach our goal, 200,000 by the end of the year, so we can move forward with this project without delays. Thank you very much for everything that you're doing and everything that you will do. And we will see each other in the next meeting. Bye-bye.